consistent with the time period. The existing addition it's hard to see in a lot of these pictures. I think maybe the stuff I gave you might have some better pictures of it, but there's a lot of foliage, so it's hard to see. But basically, it's about a 12-foot shed dormer on the back of the building, and it's surrounded by casement windows, which are very tall and thin, but it's almost like a sunroom. It's got windows everywhere. And the porch is behind that, so it's in this area. It's a little hard to see in this picture. The front of the building, we're not proposing to do anything to the front of the building other than while she's doing this, she'd like to replace all the windows there. They all have storms on them, and she'd like to do something, put new windows in that don't require storms and something more energy efficient. Really, from the front of the building, there's very little you would actually see that we're doing. The existing porch would stick out a little bit further than it does. Sticks out. It's going to stick out about 10 feet to the side. You could probably see that from the driveway if the trees weren't there, but you can really barely see it. Anyway, the porch is nicely done. It was a very nice addition. It has a standing seam copper roof on it and stuff. So all we're doing is moving that over a little bit. The second elevation I'm showing here is the side elevation, and this is where you'll see substantial changes. The area I'm pointing to is where the shed dormer is currently, and well, this is the shed dormer you see currently on the side, and here's the porch on the side. So the shed dormer is actually going to be turned, and this area up above is a new second floor. And this gazebo-looking thing is part of the kitchen. It's actually an interior space. So this is the existing porch that we're planning on keeping. It's as you can see, it's a pretty nice porch. We're just moving it over about 10 to 15 feet, and so that the new addition kind of wraps around it, and we can continue to use it. The rear of the building, currently there's a little terrace on the second floor. We're going to maintain that. That'll probably be about 3 feet, I believe, 3 feet bigger, because right now where the kitchen is, there's a little breakfast room that is pretty small, and we're planning on increasing that and turning it into the dining room. The driveway side, basically right now there's a porch on the driveway side, which is probably the main entrance. I mean, not the dominant entrance, but where everybody comes in. And then there's kind of a stucco addition that I don't really quite understand why they stuccoed it, but because the back of it's all clapboard siding, but they did stucco this side for some reason. Also, underneath the existing porch, someone stuccoed in a window, I guess so there would have more wall space on the interior. The kitchen is very small in this house, and they must have done that just so they had more space for their kitchen cabinets. We plan on taking that stucco out and putting a window back in where it used to be. You might be able to see that in the picture a little bit there. So the window's going to come back. We're going to add something very similar to what's there right now, except with a box bay on it as far as an addition goes. And then over top of it, we're going to have the terrace put back on there. And the second floor will extend out so the terrace will be accessible from two sides. I think these pictures show a little bit better some of the details. This is the shed dormer, and you can see there's casement windows everywhere. It's really inconsistent with the rest of the building, and unfortunately it was built, or maybe fortunately, because she wants to tear it down for this reason. It was built very thin. It feels almost like a bowling alley in there, and it's really hard to place furniture. It's only about 12 feet wide. So it's really hard to place furniture, and it's about 28 feet long. So as you can see, it's just kind of almost too long and skinny, and she wants to do away with all these casement windows and go back in with windows consistent with the main part of the building. The rest of these pictures, I brought some pictures of the existing windows because I'm going to get into fenestration in just a second and show you what she's intending to put in there. The garage, we're not really doing anything to the garage, but we'll probably paint it. But other than that, we're not going to do anything to the garage right now. It's pretty nice. It's done in clapboard as well. I've showed a couple pictures here to show what the backyard looks like in the side yard. This is actually the backyard. This is looking off to the side. It's pretty enclosed. There's a lot of vegetation around it. It's hard to even see the neighbor's house. I think in this picture you can see an inkling of the neighbor's house, but she has a hedge going on the side of the on both sides of the building, and so the backyard is fairly wooded, so it's really not seen much at all from anywhere. In your application, you also asked me to take pictures of the neighboring houses, and the first house you see here is the house that's directly adjacent. It's the closest house. She is on a corner, so this is really the only house that's beside her. There's one behind her, but this is the only one beside her. And this garage you see, that's the closest thing to the house. That is probably about 5 to 7 feet away from her driveway, or from her property line, and her driveway is about 5 feet away from her property line. So that garage is the closest thing to her house. It kind of blocks the view of the adjacent house. The next house is the house across the street, kind of diagonally. The third house is more directly across the street. This is the next house down Orchard Way. That's kind of a little bit remote. You can't really see that from her house. It's kind of like maybe just because of the vegetation this time of year. Probably could in the winter. The next house is across the street from that. That's at the opposing corner to her. And the last house is the house that's directly behind her, behind all that vegetation I was showing. That's the one you could see just an inkling of the chimney in the background in the picture. I guess if I was to take anything from this, there is no continuity in design in any of these houses other than, I mean, they're all nicely done and they all do follow some traditional standards, but everybody seems to have something unique, and I guess that's what makes the neighborhood so nice, that everybody does have something fairly unique to present. So that's what we intend to do. That's what we hope you will approve. I'd just like to talk a little bit about fenestration and what she intends to do, so you know she does intend to follow historic guidelines. She intends to use Marvin windows. She does want to use a clad window. I've used clad windows with the State Historical Review Board. They will allow it as long as we use the mullions the muttons that have the historical profile. That's what she intends to use. This is a sample from Marvin that they try to kill too many birds with one stone here. The bottom will not be void of muttons. It'll be top muttons and bottom muttons, exactly the way the existing building is. So that's what we intend to use. It's a good quality window. I've used them many times before on historic projects. We're not going for historic tax credit here, but I have used them on projects with historic tax credits, and they've always allowed Marvins as long as we did follow those guidelines. She wants to do that anyway. She wants to use they do have different size muttons, as you probably know. She wants to use the thick muttons, which are consistent with that period in that building, that in her existing house. She's not going to use a true divided light, but she will use the simulated true divided light, which is the muttons on the inside and the muttons on the outside both. This isn't the right screen. Marvin has two screens, one that is a much finer mesh, and it almost, well, they say it almost disappears. It doesn't, but it doesn't show as much as this screen does. So she'll be using the fine mesh screen, and it does make a big difference. It's probably I'd say 50% less visible than these. Also, Marvin makes, with these little grooves you see on the side, they make all sorts of accessories that will clip into the window. They also make a sill that'll clip into the window. So what we intend to do is match as closely as possible to what's there with the clip-in pieces. And her windows are very, very common, so I think we're going to have very close to a exact match. That's what she intends to do. I think a couple of unique things she intends to do, and they have been done in the neighborhood. She would like to use, on the rear of the kitchen, she'd like to use arched doors, like French doors, arched French doors, and she'd also like to use the arched French doors over top of her terrace. So she is adding some arches. I know some of the neighbors have arches in their, well, quite a few of the neighbors have arches in their windows, so it's not inconsistent with the neighborhood. You can't see it in this picture, but the adjacent house also has some arches. You can see the arch in the gate here, and there's arches on the top windows here as well. So it's not inconsistent with the neighborhood or the period.
What materials, exterior materials for the addition?
Clapboard. She wants to use beaded clapboard siding, wood, not vinyl.
The entire addition?
The entire addition, right. Most addition's going to be facing underneath the, well, I'd say two sides of it are going to be facing underneath the porch. That's what's there now. There's a clapboard there now. It's not beaded clapboard, but she likes beaded clapboard, so she wants to use the beaded clapboard everywhere. But she's going to do the entire addition out of clapboard siding, cedar with it'll all be painted. She wants to paint the whole thing white. So I did bring color samples if you want to see the color samples. But basically, she wants a white window too. That's what's in the house now. Marvin has like 6 different colors of white, ranging from kind of this color down to very white. She wants the very white color. So that's what she intends to do. The existing back is painted tan right now, as is the. I think you could see that best in the garage. There were a couple pictures in what I gave you that. Excuse me. There were a couple pictures in what I gave you that showed some of the siding on the back of the house, but it's very hard to see with all those windows and so much overhang. But the siding on the house is consistent with the currently is consistent with the garage. So basically, we're talking about clapboard siding. The porch has copper. The new gazebo will be copper. The upper roof we're tying in with the same shingle she has on the existing roof, but the lower roof will be copper. The part down, especially the gazebo, will be copper, standing seam copper to go with the existing porch.
When you move the porch, are you taking the stairs away? I don't quite understand this elevation. Are you changing the elevation? Because right now there's stairs that go up to the porch.
Right. The 2 things are happening. One, she wants, right now the ceilings aren't very high in this house either. So when we go through, if you look at the plans, when we go from the living room or from the new foyer into the addition, we're going to step down 3 steps. So we get more ceiling height in the house. So that's going to bring us down some. Also, she wants to be able to step off that's going to bring us down very close to, there's a lot of steps on the back elevation, but there's also a retaining wall there that you go up from that backyard, from right here where I'm showing you right now. You go up 5 risers, which gets you up on top of the retaining wall, and then you go up 4 more risers.
Right.
So actually, once we drop down 3 risers, there'll only be 2 risers there. So it'll be pretty close to grade. So it won't be so high. There will not be as much of an underpinning here as you see.
But, so there will be steps still?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I don't think they're shown on the facade drawing.
It'll probably just be 2 risers, probably just be 1 step,
Oh,
2
okay.
risers.
And so will you be taking away the balustrade too, or replacing that?
Well, on this side right here, that which is the side towards the side street there, that side will still be up in the air, so we're going to have to leave it there. But for the most part, we're going to be regrading it. We will be taking most of the balustrade away, anywhere that we're 2 feet or less.
Mm-hmm.
So it will not be there on the side facing the rear of the house.
Oh, I see.
On the side
Yeah.
facing Brookside, we will probably still have to have a balustrade.
Right.
That's going to depend a little bit. I know we're going to have to do stormwater management here, and the stormwater management is going to happen on the Brookside side of the house. It's going to happen right over in this area here, which is at that end. So that'll affect our grading some too. We're going to have to regrade that whole area anyway. So, but there probably will be a balustrade across there. I don't think we're going to
Okay.
take it up that much.
Now, on your right side elevation,
Yes.
at the second floor level, underneath, I'm looking underneath those 3 windows,
Yes.
okay? Is there like a water table there or something? Looks like you're,
On the second floor?
the ceiling of the first floor for the second floor. Next, if you continue out from the balustrade for the walk-on, that porch there, to the right of it.
To the right.
It
of
looks like you have like a break in the siding
it.
at about the level of the cupola, where the roof meets the walls of the cupola. Right
Here?
to the left of that. Let's see. Yeah, right around there, yeah. Because you've got lines extending out, almost indicating like you've got like a piece of trim there or something. Right here.
I think they're just the 4 lines.
No, those are floor
Yeah.
lines. I don't have those on this drawing. I got rid of them on this drawing. I was afraid it might confuse people. Those are just my dashed floor lines to show where floor and ceilings are.
Okay.
I had a couple questions. We received this package, and it looks like you've done a little bit more work on these drawings since this. There's a couple windows that are different.
There's
And there's some things that don't quite jive between plan and elevation in our set. I'm not sure how it works in that set, but
There's a couple of changes that I wanted to point out to you. I met with her again after I got those in. We had 3 windows along her bedroom. We changed it to 2. Basically, we were going back, and she was not liking that windows were skinnier and smaller than the windows on the existing house. So we basically took the windows from the existing house and changed it. There's one other major change. On the plan I showed you, there were terraces on both sides of the house. She does not want to do that now, so we just got rid of the terrace and where I show a door there's a window now. Which is, the window's there now, actually. It's existing window, so we're not changing that.
so that's on the left side elevation, that one?
If you look at the rear elevation,
Mm-hmm.
this window right here was a door behind the balustrade.
Oh,
Well, she's not going to have terraces on both sides now. She's just going to have terraces on terrace where the terrace exists now. So instead of cutting a door into the back of the building, we're just leaving the existing window there.
I'm taking that out. The left side.
No, I think it's up there.
Which,
Oh, is that the
which
left
is
side?
that?
Oh, yeah.
So that goes away, that door becomes
Right.
a window.
I think so. On that side, are you still having, are you still having the smaller windows above the larger window? That would be on the rear on the rear elevation, above the addition with the curved windows, you know, sort of the triangular addition.
Yes, we're still having 2 windows there, but they're not going to be small.
That has a transom window?
Yeah, is it going?
But he's changed.
Oh, okay, so that won't have a transom window, right?
No,
Okay.
she wanted
Yeah.
to go to bigger windows, so we got rid of all the transoms. They're
Oh.
basically, this is going to be the window everywhere. I think there's, you know, they're going to have to fluctuate a little bit. We, of course, over the kitchen cabinets, they're a little bit smaller, and also in the dining room right here, they're taller and skinnier just because it's in a box bay. But that's, other than that, they're pretty consistent throughout. They're going to be as close to what's in the existing houses.
Will they be adding shutters to match the front, or?
She didn't really want shutters in the back,
Uh-huh.
not in the back. I don't think, in many cases, they wouldn't fit anyway because the windows are getting a little close together, and also like over the gazebo, they absolutely wouldn't fit.
Right.
So she just said, let's not do them anywhere.
So
The-
with your left side elevation, you take out the balustrade for the terrace? I'm just trying to jive with what you have, what we don't. Oh, okay.
Right, I take out
Okay,
the
now you're
balustrade.
You're answering my question.
Okay.
That's what we don't have.
Yeah, the only thing, that's the big change, that she just decide not to put 2 terraces up there.
Well, I think this new set of elevations is more consistent with, you know, the existing house and those proportions. So
Yeah,
that's-
I completely
Yeah.
agree. I think it's a good change.
Yeah.
We thought so too. She was very happy when we made these changes, so.
Yeah, it's just more, as Cam said, it's more consistent, and it draws less attention, I think, to the addition than the other did because of the differences. I think historically it's more correct too, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a colonial revival, you know, 1930s kind of, and, you know, colonial revival was, you know, 1850 to 1950. I mean, it's 100 years of, you know, revival.
Yeah,
So it's an eclectic thing, and so here you have, well, you know, here's a revival facade, but it's got, you know, hipped roofs instead of gables in some places, and then, you know, he's hipping on the back, and you're allowed some play.
yeah.
you know.
I think it's I think it's a nice addition, really. You know, you won't see the back from any place anyway, will you? It's pretty well hidden. And, you know, even though I think it has some modern elements, it's still within keeping of the, it's similar to the existing in terms of a lot of the elements. I had one question about the sill of the window. Is that, when you replace the sill, will that be the same, those will be the same proportions as what's there now?
Yes, the existing sills, they have a snap-on piece that goes on the bottom of this that is almost identical to this in looks. It just snaps on the bottom. And it's actually just here for that purpose, to try to meet historical guidelines and stuff. It's a very common window, very common molding around it and everything. So it's something that we don't have to customize it or anything. Marvin already has something that's 99% exact what that is already. So it's very common moldings and stuff.
What's the exposure on the siding?
10-inch, I think I drew.
Okay.
I think she's got 8-inch right now on her.
This 10's getting a little big, but I guess that was one question. Then as the siding goes down to the ground, you know, you're showing it fairly level. Presumably, will be some sort of a base that's masonry. And how are you going to deal with that? And how does it connect with the stone? And you know, what's that?
Yeah, she
treatment?
was going to use stucco. We're going to use stucco down there. It's it won't be much though, because she's really going down 3 steps. She's getting down pretty close to grade, so we'll probably have 8-inch exposure, 10,
Okay.
maybe a little bit more.
You could do some kind of dark stucco that
Yeah.
matches the stone, sort of.
They got Actually, they did use it. I mean, I guess this, I mean, I don't like this, but this side here really has kind of a
Bright color.
tanny, color that's very somewhere between the mortar joints and the stone, and kind of does disappear. I mean, it's not very nice looking, but
Well,
I
that's a
think a
good
small
color.
strip along the bottom's not gonna be bad.
And then is this going to be a mitered corner joint, or are we going to have corner boards?
We're gonna have corner boards,
Okay, so that'd be like a 4-inch corner
4-inch corner.
with a bead or anything like that, or?
Yeah, it'll be beaded siding, so we probably have a bead on the corners as well.
And then are you going to bring siding down to a water table and on top of the stucco, or just go siding and then
I think
no flare? And
no
just-
no flare.
just flat.
Yeah, I think not.
Okay. I mean, I like this better than this. I'm concerned that we don't have everything here. We've had this before.
Yeah, I would, it would be helpful if we could just have the changes in writing,
Okay.
so that it's on record, especially since we won't be having minutes anymore.
I brought some more plans. I actually don't know if I printed out the new ones or not. You might. I think this is not. I think this is just the old package reprinted.
So what we end up approving becomes a record for the permit, and then they have to.
Well, how about I
approve it.
reissue this package with these drawings in them to you as a record set for
Yeah,
each?
and I would, I guess we could do that.
Well, I think also if you could maybe make an extra page with notes on
Materials.
materials and the
All
question.
the
that-
things you said.
Yeah, the answers that you've given to all of us regarding the siding, the corner boards, all that we talked about, the windows, the
Sure.
sills and so forth.
Sure. Yeah, I can have all that over to you tomorrow. Obviously, the drawings are done already. All I'll have to do is I can get that over to you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Do they have quotes for this already?
Yeah, I'm also a contractor.
Huh?
I'm pricing it out for them. I'm a contractor
Oh.
as well. So yes, the answer is yes, I do.
No, you're not going to be out here in a month because of sticker shock changing this whole thing around again?
We've already been through that.
Okay.
That's gone now.
The hard part's over. I had just one comment. Looking at these drawings, just the appearances from the drawings itself, it looks like the addition basically doubles the size of the original house. And, we've had this conversation in the past about scope, and I think this is probably an example of, if this was in a different neighborhood, or a different type of neighborhood, I think I'd have greater concerns. In this neighborhood, the property's a large property. The house is located centrally on the lot. I think if you look at some of the houses around there, they're very large. There were also very large homes in that neighborhood, so it's probably consistent. But I just wanted to make the point that that's that's something we have talked about in the past, the scope of projects, and when they add so much to an existing property, how we have to consider that for our decision.
Yeah, well, I thought about that too, and the thing that made me not too concerned about it, as opposed to some of the other projects we've had, is that because it's located in the back of the house and it's not that visible, it didn't concern me as much as some of the other projects we've had, which are right in your face on the side and very visible to everyone. And this doesn't, even though I think they're adding to the size of the house, it doesn't impact the neighborhood itself.
Yep, I agree.
So,
And also, the footprint looks like it's twice as, adds twice, but the second floor,
yeah.
next down, so your scale goes up as you go back, so that's a good thing.
You also got to remember, we're knocking down a big
Right.
piece, and we're
Yep.
just putting that back because it was poorly designed. And so it's, I mean, the addition footprint is probably doubling the side of the house, but it's not, if you take away the fact that you knocked down
Yep, sure.
almost 2,000 square feet, that it's not quite that much. So I think our addition part's about 3,000 square feet. The whole house is about, I think with the third floor is about 8,000.
Okay.
Did you bring any revised floor plans with this set, or is that?
I didn't. I printed them out, another one in case you guys needed them, and I realized I printed the old
Okay.
plans out, but I
That
can
should
have
be
those to
part
you
of that.
tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that would be part of that too, would be great.
Yeah, these. Yes, these are the old ones.
Okay.
I'll have those to you tomorrow morning.
Okay, does anyone else have any comments? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve a certificate of approve a certificate of appropriateness?
Motion to approve a certificate of appropriateness?
With the,
With-
assuming we get a copy of the revised plans.
Yeah, with a, yeah,
We're
right.
we're voting on the revised plans.
Yeah, the revised plans and some notes that describe answers to the
Yeah,
questions.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is old business, and I think we have someone here from, is it the Audubon? Yeah. Would you like to come up and tell us about the changes that you're planning on making to the building?
Well, I think, my name is Peg Calvary, and I'm the,
Could you, excuse me, could you
Please
take
use the
the
microphone.
the microphone? Yeah,
is this it?
yeah.
I'm Peg Calvary, can you hear me? Turn it off. Can you hear me now? No?
Mm.
Says on.
Oh, yeah, you're on.
Okay. I'm Peg Heldring, and I live at 305 Audubon Avenue in Wayne. And these plans were, the original plans were presented to the board last summer by my husband, Martin Heldring. And since that time, we've decided to scale back somewhat. There was a letter sent by Gardner Fox, our architect, on August 11th. I don't know if you have a copy of the letter or not.
We do.
Okay. So basically, we've scaled back the plans in order for the plans to come more within the budget that we had in mind from the beginning. So the first change would be that we are not replacing the basement windows with a glass block. They're going to remain the same. Then the ashlar block that's outside the kitchen, on the front and on the side, they're not going to. We're not going to side over it. We're just going to keep it as is. And then the two existing window openings are just going to be filled in.
What will they be filled in with?
They're going to be. It says will be removed, infilled, and we'll have a stucco finish.
Okay.
Okay. Then the third change is a modified window opening on the side near the porch, and that is 3 casement windows. And we're basically, there's a window there now, but we're enlarging it and replacing it with a triple casement window. And Gardner Fox has a comment that most of the windows in the house have the multiple divided glass in the upper sash and a full view glass at the lower sash. But the existing casements, if you look around the house, the existing casements are have even divided glass. So that's why he made those 3 casement windows all divided glass. The other change is we've reduced the size of the addition by 2 feet. Okay, this isn't a change, but we're keeping the siding to a shingle style to match the main house, so that was already approved. We're keeping the decorative banding, which Harb had proposed last summer. We're keeping the timbering detail as proposed by Harb, but we're eliminating the 2 square gable windows, and that was on top in the back. Because we're reducing, I believe, the vaulted ceiling, making it lower. So we've eliminated the 2 windows that
Wait,
were going to go there.
Could you show me that on the plan?
Sure.
You know, hold, I'm totally confused. Can you, as you went through some of these changes, can you just point to the plan as you go through these changes? No, not with us. We don't have any of this. Yeah, just start, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the first, these were the 2 windows I talked about. Can you see that?
Where are they?
2 windows that are going to be, 2 windows that are going to be filled in.
And can you point to those? Just, oh, you
Right
are
here.
pointing to them.
See those?
Yeah.
And if I recall, isn't that like a 2-story stucco?
Yeah.
Addition or
Ashlar
something?
block on the
Yeah,
bottom.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the back corner of the house? Is that-
No, that's, if you're looking at the house, it's to the right.
Right. I think
It's
there's
right at the dining room.
shrubs there now or something, if I
Yeah,
recall the plan.
garbage cans
So that's
Yeah.
facing
Shrubs.
the street then?
facing the street.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's the first change I talked about. And then, okay, now the kitchen window, all right, is right here. See that?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what he was talking about, the casement windows, because you see the other windows are half full glass and half casement, but if you look at other casement windows in the house, for example, here and here, he's matching those.
So are you saying those 3 windows that you pointed out will remain?
No, there's only one, yes, the 3 windows that I pointed out, these 3 are going to remain. Right now, there's 1 window there, so we're eliminating the 1 window and making a bigger opening and putting the 3 casement windows in there.
So when you were here before, those 3 windows were 1 window?
Mhm,
Is that correct?
yes. Yeah, I can show you the demolition. Do you want to see that?
When you say 1 window, that was the existing window?
Yes.
Okay. And that's what you didn't want to touch before? Or you were going to change it?
Well, before, we had, since the room was going to be bigger, we had 1 window over here and 1 window over here.
Okay.
Now we eliminated that, and the present window is there. We're just making it bigger.
Okay.
Okay?
Is that wall face that the triple's in, that's a stucco finish, or is that the ashlar block?
That's the ashlar block.
And then it goes into the siding without any,
Right. Then it
That's
goes
changed.
into a siding that used to be a porch, and that's what we're adding on to the mudroom.
okay, and then it comes out from there
Right.
to the first gable, and then the other gable comes even further. And then you were mentioning, and the basement windows that we're seeing right now, they're staying. Are they the ones that were going to be changed originally, or
This window right here?
the basement windows below that?
Oh, the basement windows are down here. Yeah, we're just going to keep those.
Okay. And then you had something, I think, on the back above the bay.
Right.
There was some
Here.
window detail up there where you had talked about.
Okay. 2 up here. We did have 2 windows there. This is the back of the house now. This is the back of the breakfast room. And up here, there were 2 windows in the original plan, so we've eliminated those.
I
Because
think,
now the ceiling is dropping.
didn't we discuss that? Yeah,
Yeah, they had
yeah.
a diamond or something. I
Right,
forget what it
right.
was, and we decided.
Right.
But now it's gone altogether.
Right.
It looks like there's something pointing to the upper V. Is that a vent note or something?
New stucco to match existing, it says.
Okay.
And the new timbering detail to match existing. So this matches what's on South Wayne gable there. Okay, and then, all right, so the other change is the rafter details that are on the present roof. We're eliminating those on the addition.
So you're not flaring them out?
Exactly. They're going to match the garage. Do you see where that is?
Can you shift your plans over to your right a little bit
Yeah, sure.
so we can get it in focus. Here we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there any other first floor roof line that's existing? On the porch, right? In their front porch, as I recall.
Yeah, but it's flared on everywhere else
It's
except
flared
the
there, too?
garage. Mm-hmm. Here's the front, wait, hold on. This is the front here, see
Yeah,
there?
I don't think you ever had a full front view,
Probably
though, if
not.
I recall. But
Well, right here is the front. It's just half of the house, but it's the front.
Right, but my question was, is that's like on a second floor main roof?
Right.
And that's a flare detail, that's the
Right.
big cap on the house.
Yeah.
So as you go down, are there any other roof
There
lines?
is a porch. Let me see. I don't think they don't have that side of the house on this plan.
Okay,
There's a porch on the west side of my house that they've enclosed. And
and that flares?
I don't think that has a flared roof, that porch. That's my husband. But it does, but when they did the garage does not have flared
Right.
roof.
Well, this is the main house, so we're sort of,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so if the porch that was enclosed now has walls going up to a soffit and
Right.
a fascia piece, what would that be, and can
I
that,
don't think that's interesting, but I don't think it's flared.
it probably isn't, that's why I was asking, so.
I don't think it's
he
flared.
needs that mic.
Sorry. I don't think it's flared.
Right. Is it open rafter tails and, I mean, well, you can see the roof line, the roof
This is a rafter tail.
rafters coming through?
See, that flares out.
No.
Flares out.
No, not on the
Okay.
porch, not on the first floor porch.
Okay.
No.
So, I mean, what I'm getting at is maybe there's something on the front porch that has been enclosed, that section
Mm-hmm.
that has a roof detail that you may be able to incorporate into this
Okay.
new addition that's not as expensive as doing the flare.
Right.
But then that would tie it together. I
Okay.
mean, I know what you're saying about tying it to the garage, but
Yeah.
I would say, well, it's, look at the house first.
Okay.
And I don't know what that is. I don't recall, what
All
that
right.
looks like, but I would look into that.
Okay.
And then the two windows that are on the front of the house that are being infilled,
Right.
it sounds like there's going to be a stucco two stucco
Yeah, but
rectangles in an ashlar block wall.
Except that there's, I don't know what you'd call it, but white, they put white, like a grid, wooden
Oh, yeah, that's
trellises
right. That's on
up there. So we're going to continue with that. Keep that up there and just fill it in with the trellis look.
So it'll be totally trellis.
Exactly.
And the back is just a utility masonry thing.
Exactly.
For plants to be able to not eat into.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be something we should mention in the notes. That's pretty important, because that's the front of the house,
Right.
and that should be something that we say that, because if you just had those two
No, it
kind of
looked
black
funny.
eyes looking at you.
Yeah, no, it looked funny. So we're going to fill that in with the white terrace.
Okay.
Lattice. I think
Lattice.
it's called lattice, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But I'll tell them to look at the sided porch, see how the
Well,
roof
just
detail
that-
is.
Just that detail, and see if there's something
Okay.
you can,
Match it with.
I mean, I can't imagine it, you can't do that.
Mhm.
I mean, to enclose, I'm guessing it's an open rafter
Mhm.
detail,
Mhm.
and they could certainly do that on that other piece.
Okay.
And you don't have fascia and soffit and all that, it shouldn't be that much of a big deal to do,
Okay.
so I would just say. I'm
Okay, the
sorry, I
fin-
sort of interrupted, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Are there any more questions on that particular detail? Okay, the final change is the porch post detail. And we eliminated 4 columns, making it a single post on each corner. And I guess originally they were trying to match the posts on the front of the house, but on the South Wayne side, there is a single post. So the column detail is not always a double one, so we're comfortable with that.
And where
making it
where
a
is that?
single. Okay, hold on. Right here. Here and here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And what, you said there was more, and what was there before, 4 posts?
Right.
It was 2 and 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
No, actually, there were
Yeah.
6, so they're eliminating
Oh,
4.
there were 3 and 3,
So
You mean like in
6
the corner?
total.
yeah.
Right,
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, they're making now they're just gonna be 2.
right.
Okay.
Is the half timbering over the door is curved,
Mm-hmm.
and it was that way before
Mhm.
also, and then behind it on the other gable, it's more geometrical.
Okay, you're talking about here
Yeah,
and here.
yeah. And is that the same as it was before?
That's not changed.
What is it on the rest of the house, the half timbering? Is
Yeah.
it curved or is it geometrical?
Hold on.
It doesn't show.
Here you go.
I'm pretty sure they're matching the rest of the house, but
Oh,
it
I
doesn't
see.
show it on here.
Okay, yeah, we have it right
You
here.
have it? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
It's all coming back to us now.
Yeah.
You mean you don't remember my husband's star performance last summer? When he was very, very sick and came from his sick bed to do this?
Yeah, this has
And I think that's,
that open rafter.
Yeah,
So, I mean, they could just do that, call it a day on this back.
yeah, I would think so.
You know what I mean? See, that's, you can kind of see them.
Oh, yeah,
And then they just went up right underneath. Just do
you-
that in the back. and
You
call
know
it
what,
a
you
day.
should show that to her so she understands it.
Yeah. Oh, let's see, 6, 2.
Okay.
Two.
Are there any other changes?
no.
If, do you want to just come up here for a second and look at this detail that Cam was talking about?
Yeah, here's, if you can look at the old porch, you see how these rafters, like they come down through? And there's a porch beam, and that porch beam keeps running through. But when they enclosed this, they left all those showing, but they just took the wall up to the bottom of the roof deck. And so if you did the whole back part like this, then you would tie that whole first floor thought together.
Okay,
And, you know, don't get into all this craziness up here. That's hugely expensive.
okay.
Looks great, but, you know, it
Yeah.
is the main cap of the house, so
Exactly.
that's why it is done that way.
Right.
You know, big overhangs, keps the rain off, all that jazz.
I actually think it's better doing this rather than that overhang. I mean, it's- you know, because it doesn't call attention to the addition.
Yeah,
Right.
it minimizes, you know, the hierarchy of the roof lines.
Right.
So this, I would just propose that to them and say, well, what if, and see what they say.
Okay. Here's the single column they was
Yeah.
talking about. Okay.
And that's
That's fine.
fine. I mean, you're still doing this kind of stuff up there on the top,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
here, geometric.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll mention that to him then,
Okay.
on the porch.
Does anyone else have any comments on this?
Now, those changes, all those changes are reflected on those drawings?
Yes.
That you have there? And you've submitted that already to the township?
Yes, I haven't, but Gardner Fox
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
Again, could we have a copy of the changes and a page listing what those changes are? I know that you wrote up the Gardner Fox.
The letter
Yeah. Is anything, if anything else changes from that letter, if we could have changes? For example, if you change the roof line there.
to match the porch.
Yeah.
You want that? Okay,
Yeah.
no
I mean, they
problem.
should probably price that first. But
Yeah.
let's just say, if they can't do what I'm asking, are you okay with the closed?
I'm okay with it. I just, yeah, I just think that it would be a lot nicer, and it would make the whole addition and the house itself sort of hang together better.
Yeah, I understand.
Because I really think that the garage is such an ancillary building.
Right.
You know, it's not really related to the house. I
Not
mean,
at
you can
all.
see it at the same time, but it's not, it's really,
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Did the Harb approve that?
no. That was before Harb, pre-Harb.
Okay, so I will have no comment on that then.
If we did, we wouldn't admit to it.
I wasn't even born.
Smart move.
Yeah. Nor was I.
Okay.
Okay. So would anyone like to make a motion to approve a certificate of appropriateness?
Peggy?
Yeah.
You can't make a motion on it because it was never
Oh,
formally
that's
brought
right,
in.
I'm sorry. Okay. Well,
What
no
happened?
motion.
So it's not approved?
Well, I guess we don't need a motion.
No, I get, you're agreeing to the changes, so I guess
Yeah,
that's it.
okay, fine, okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any other new business that we have to discuss? No? Okay, would someone like to make a motion, a real motion here to adjourn?
I'll make a
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Okay, okay. Meeting adjourned.